We'll find
I
out
think,
who wants to be here.
I mean, I think I got things set up like at least an hour and a half before this time, as opposed to like 6 minutes. So I do think it should work. But then there was another confusing thing that you could also add it to your Instagram live, but you have to add like a special key. And I think maybe it's try that next time.
We'll do it next time. Well, what's Restream then?
It is another, I mean, there's just like, it's another platform that basically does the same thing, but apparently, and like, are we live? Is it live?
I mean, it says live. Here.
Oh, okay, good.
Let's see if we go to your YouTube if it looks live.
Apparently on Restream, you can like, the benefit to that one is that you can also plug into your channels.
You can send it to multiple places.
Well, you can do that with this one too, but on that one
like
you can
send it to like multiple YouTubes.
I think so.
Oh, okay. Is anyone in here?
No, I don't think. Hang on.
Let's see.
See, I mean, you do this live stuff all the time.
One person watching.
I mean, you do this, but you have a producer.
We have a producer. We do.
Which is nice, right?
And we also we use something called vMix at WTMJ, which I don't know the difference, and I don't know why they chose that when they were choosing like live stream options, but it's also like connected to our board. So if we don't do as many video interviews that we did at Civic Media, which because sometimes we just like don't trust people to be like, because you have to like do something different with being on the video and also your audio, and sometimes it's just asking for people for a lot, and then the sound quality is not always great. So live radio is a different beast.
Yes. Well, and I'm sure there's like you probably use, I'm sure there's like industry standards, and it's more of like a sort of corporate thing. Okay, it does say live. One watching. One person is here. Okay, now 3. Hello.
Hey.
I saw you in there putting some notes in our shared doc, and I know we've been planning a little bit about some things we wanted to cover. Let me make sure I have like the comments.
Well, I guess what is the story for you this week that's been living rent-free in your head?
I don't know that anything lives like rent-free in my head. It seems to all like just swirl around and take turns. It depends on the day or the hour. I mean, let's see. I think the like Trump calling affordability a hoax was like crazy to me. I did get a bit of hope earlier this week with the Tennessee election, even though the Democrat lost. I think it was a really interesting story to see. I mean, it's kind of like.
Did you follow the race very closely? Because I feel like I came very late to the game to understand what was going on.
I was kind of late to it too. I was following very from a distance, and just because I just did not have the capacity to, and then followed more closely like right at the end, kind of like I do with Packers football and that kind of stuff. But I followed it really closely like that day, and I was watching the election results roll in, and I knew what was I knew that it was going to be interesting to watch, and it was. And I mean, she came like within single digit points.
Yeah, it was between like it was 8 point something as far as what it ended up being, which is certainly is a big deal. I also, side note, house divided for you on Sunday. Speaking of Packers.
Oh, because my husband.
Yeah, isn't he a Bears fan?
Yes.
Good luck
I'm
with
like,
that.
don't quiz me on the Packers. I don't even want to say this publicly, but I've been like very bad about watching them.
That's fine.
It's not the same without Donald Driver, which I know has been like a decade. But remember like the golden years?
Like, you mean like when we were like, what are your golden years? Like when we were kids with Brett Favre, or like our 20s?
I mean, yeah. Well, when it was, yeah, that was good. That was like definitely, you know, and like Reggie White and all that. But then it was
Yeah, yeah,
also
yeah.
really
When
good,
we
like
actually like
when they
when we
won the
won,
Super Bowl. So it was like
yeah, and
Aaron
we won the Super Bowl in
Rodgers, Clay
2011, but like,
Matthews, all that.
so were you more a Brett Favre era person when you were like, or the like Aaron Rodgers before he went insane?
Well, they both went insane, right? Um, yeah, why did they both suck so bad now?
I don't know.
No, I mean, I more Aaron Rodgers when he was, yeah, a Packer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair
But
enough. Fair
I
enough.
do, so I will watch now that like things, I like to like pick up the NFL when it's just getting towards the end and there's like elimination stuff potentially happening and things like matter a lot more. So that's what I was like comparing to this this election. I kind of came in at the end and was very invested.
Got it.
But yeah, she was an awesome candidate and actually quite progressive. And this is one of the reddest, as I understand, one of the reddest congressional districts in Tennessee, which is already very red.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know if you saw like, you know, your typical graphics from the New York Times that have the arrows. Um, and like every single county in that district like had the blue arrows to the left by quite a bit. And so I
Yeah.
think it's all related to the like affordability conversations and the fact that people are just like not buying what he's selling anymore.
Well, it's crazy because Politico had polling that came out this week that shows like with his actual base with MAGA, it's still strong as to be expected. But with a lot of people who voted for him in 24 but aren't necessarily MAGA, he's losing them on affordability stuff. Like there's more and more people like there. I think it was something like 46% said this is the worst they've ever seen affordability like in the country. And I made the point today on the show of just being like, you know, like this is not something that Trump created, but it's certainly not something he's laser focused on fixing. And as like Congress is falling, like as the House seems like it's falling apart now, now there's news that Nancy Mace is talking to like Marjorie Taylor Greene about also resigning early. And like I don't know what they're
Oh
actually
shoot.
going to get done to do like I don't know. Like it just feels and I certainly don't think there's any indication that continuing to harp on deportations is going to help the economy. Uh,
Mm-mm.
as far, and so it's just like there's just such focus on the wrong things to help the most amount of people. And so while I don't think it's a problem that Trump created, voters have very short memories, and I think like politically it is a huge problem for them going into next year.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's like it's weird because he's almost doing what people didn't like that like Biden was doing, which was like always rolling out these great economy numbers, although he was looking at numbers that actually were like real numbers, but they were like about the stock market and stuff and people that like stuff that everyday people weren't necessarily like looking at, but they were still feeling like prices were still really high at the grocery store. They still like didn't have enough money in their bank account. And so it felt like dismissive. And
Yeah,
it's so not
it's
funny,
so
but
weird that
it's
he's saying
kind of like he's kind of doing the same thing,
he's doing
except
the exact
also
same thing.
making up numbers.
And yeah, it's like that's what like it's crazy of but he also he's flipped it. Like he like, was talking about affordability right after the election, and then even like the weird thing with Mamdani, and then but then to switch it around, I don't know. I also just think his health is failing. Like he keeps falling asleep in meetings, which is
Yeah, I
fascinating.
don't think he's like I have no idea what's going on, but he's definitely not like somebody I would be wanting making decisions for me, although he is making decisions for the whole country, I think.
The more terrifying person who's making decisions, who I wonder what the poly market is saying now. Pete Hegseth. Do you think he sees till the end of the year?
Mm-mm.
I don't think so
Oh,
either.
well, the end of the year is in like 3 weeks.
I guess so. I think when I checked poly market earlier today, um, at on December 1st,
What is
you
that?
don't know what poly market is? So
I mean, I
Polymarket is
kind
a
of
betting website where you can bet on pretty much anything. So it's like one of these, like, you can bet on elections, and so if I pull it up right now, if I just go to Polymarket, let's see what the top homepage bets are. So will Polymarket US go live in 2025? I don't know that one. Oh, so now that's like it's betting on who the time 2025 person of the year is going to be. So as of right now, there's a 38% chance that artificial intelligence will be. There's a 34% that Jensen Huang will be. 8% chance of Donald Trump. 8% chance Pope Leo. So you buy it. So like for artificial intelligence, you can bet 38 cents per dollar. You can buy it, and then once it gets announced, you can win money on it. And so there, and like it's pretty much it's all these different things. So you can do the Lakers and crypto, finance, sports. So, but if you go to politics, Fed decision in December, Portugal presidential election, Elon Musk number of tweets between November 28th and December 5th. But one of them was, will Pete Hegseth make it to March of 2026? And as of earlier today, when I checked, it was like a 26% chance that he makes it.
I definitely don't think he
so
will make it to March of
against him.
2026. I
What?
definitely don't. I mean, he's not going to make it till March. No way.
I mean, I think like the fact that like right, I saw a thing with Rand Paul today that was like he thought both acts were not. He's like these aren't acts of war. Like the boats that they're in are not coming to America. Like they'd have to refuel 20 times to get here. Like what are we doing? And so but Rand Paul's also been one of the ones who has a bigger backbone, which is weird to say this year. But yeah, I feel like he is not long for this world, and is it's also just like it's so frustrating because Pam Bondi and any of these people that are maybe not serious people, but that one's such a big deal because now there's an investigation that came back that like the whistleblower was like he totally put people's like American troops' lives at stake with that signal chat. And
yeah,
like
I mean,
just
because
have
that
to
was
be
like
okay with
immediate.
it.
That was like within the first month too, right?
Oh yeah, I mean that was March.
Mm-hmm.
I think that happened in March. So yeah, so I think that's a very big deal. But I also think that the walls are caving in on him.
They're definitely caving in on him, and it's interesting to see, like, especially because it's his second term. I personally don't feel like he's going to try to pull something where he runs again. I do think I mean, he's like just getting older too. Like, I think he'll be done after this, but I think along with that comes a level of like total fuck it, where it's like he does not care about anybody but himself. So, and his family, like his immediate family. So I think it's interesting to see that kind of happen.
Yeah.
And I
Speaking
think
of
that's
Eric,
exactly what the
have you,
Marjorie Taylor Greene stuff is too.
what'd you say?
I think that's what the Marjorie Taylor Greene stuff is too. And
That she's gonna run for president.
Well, no, I don't even care what she's gonna do. For sure, she's still gonna do other things, but I do think she's realizing that, like, oh, he never had my back.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm fascinated of like whatever her political future is going to be, like what version of her she's going to stick with. Like this like new, softer, kinder, apologetic side that's still America first, but in a much more thoughtful way versus
Yeah, she's
who
acting
we've
like
known
freaking Mitt
since
Romney and like
2020.
yeah.
Um
It's basically how things kind of used to be, which is weird.
Yeah. And then just in general, because did you see, not that she would run, but how long, this is just because it popped up on my feed today. How long do you think Erica Kirk's going to be in the conversation? Like, why was she at was it New York Times? It was whatever.
Yeah, I just
You saw that she was wearing like the shawled weird dress thing.
I was
But she's at
just
like
like
a
the
major,
tween
it's a
thing.
major New York event where it's like tech and culture and all these things. It's like, why are we really? It's like, and the quote that's getting shared a lot is her thinking that because how many women voted for Mamdani in New York, that like women who are career focused think that the government's going to like replace a husband. I was like, what? I couldn't even follow the logic. But then I saw a conservative post it, and all the people in the comments were like, oh, this is so true. I was like, wait, what? Like, I don't even understand how you get from one to the other, that if you're career focused, you think the government's going to come in and take care of you.
Because they think people are just like, don't want to have husbands and children, and they just want to like, yeah, get jobs and or I don't know, be on Medicaid or I don't know. They always think that people are like,
person, you're not expecting handouts from the government.
yeah, I mean, nothing that they'd say really adds up. It all is always like contradicting. But they like, because I've been following the Turning Point messaging and the like trad wife influencers and stuff for a couple years. And they always talk about that. They really want women to stop being so career driven. And I just read an article that was in, gosh, I don't remember which pub it was in, but it was in one of the main, it was like, I don't know, it was either the New York Times or the Atlantic or something like that, about all these different kinds of women on the right and like what they want and how they're trying to get people to like have kids earlier, settle down earlier and have kids, and then like take care of them at home. And then maybe when they get a little older, then you can build a career, which is like, well, fine. Women can do whatever they want for sure. But like, that's harder to do if you like right out of, and they're
so I think
telling people not even to go to college.
Cause like for me, having my first kid at 37, like not that I'm not going to say it's easy, but like with one kid and being older, and I think a lot of it has to do with being more financially secure, that like this has not been, these last 2 years has not like brought me to my knees as far as it being so overwhelming or so stressed. And like, and this is with me working, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that like we can pay for help, right? Like we can pay for a babysitter if we need a night out. Like we also have a support system, but like there's something that I think, and like also just emotional maturity of doing it later. And so I think that there is something as far as like, and this is not to say anything about having kids younger is better or worse or whatever, but as far as the financial burden, and this gets into what we've been talking about as far as affordability, like it's a lot. I have to imagine it's a lot more stressful between like emotional maturity, security, so like financial security. And the only thing I can think is, because I obviously with Mike and I, like our parents are older, so even relying on them for help, if that is one of your options for help, maybe your parents are younger, so it's a little bit like that's a little bit easier. But I don't think, it's just different. It's a trade-off, and that's my big thing as far as more and more people, and so much polling says that it's not that people are so career focused, it's that they also don't want to have more kids. Like even if they want to have more kids, they're not, because it's so expensive.
Well, yeah,
and it's
career focused also
you're only
means
making like an entry level, or like an entry level just out of college job, which we don't even know how long those are going to be around because AI is taking over everything.
Right. And the career, it's not necessarily always career focused. Like it's not like most people love their careers, but it is like building financial independence and security, because with this whole push thing for everybody to be trad wives and like literally submit to your husband and serve him and like, live on a farm with chickens and homeschool, whatever. Again, if people want to do that, that's totally fine. But if you never have a job and you never have your own money, then you are trapped in that marriage. Like not legally, but logic, like basically, you know what I mean? Unless you have like a wealthy family who can help you.
There was a conversation. I don't even know who the woman was, but she spoke so thoughtfully and deliberately. And it was a conversation talking about trans athletes. And she literally starts, she's like, I got a sidebar, but I'll get back to it. And she starts listing off all these stats as far as like no fault divorce. Like once that wasn't a thing until like the 70s. And the rates of domestic abuse, the rates of female suicide, like the rates of all of these things once women could initiate a divorce went down, right? And so it's like the point being like when you put women's like when you give them power to make choices and power over themselves, like they are safer. And her larger point going back to the trans athlete thing is like if you have to tell women, if you put gatekeepers up to say to make you prove that you are a woman, like does that you think that's going to make women safer? If they have to like prove that they have a vagina, like and who those gatekeepers are going to be and ultimately like who's going to take advantage of being that gatekeeper. And so like that was a full conversation. I bring that up though as far as like those stats of I mean that's like Betty Friedan in a nutshell, right? It's like everything that she talked about is like housewives taking was it Quaaludes? What did they take?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
It was like, you know, like just the
I'm
feminine.
getting to, I think we all might need to go like do what they were doing in the 50s. I mean, I'm just kidding, but like, I mean, yeah,
are you not a microdosing
thing.
mom? That's a whole other movement.
Yeah. Yeah, Alicia said financial security is definitely a big thing when people talk to me about why they won't have kids. Yeah, it is insanely expensive to have kids. And it's like it's getting more and more expensive. People can't even afford basic things and they're not sure if they even want to bring a kid into this world. So it's again with the contradiction. They like want people to have kids all the time, but they're making it harder and harder and harder for people to actually do that.
So did you read
as someone raised in a conservative Christian family to be a trad wife, I married by 22, had a first kid at 24. I can vouch for a lot of that.
Yeah. And again, like
cheap.
I mean, and the trade-off there is like got a lot more energy at 24 than I do trying to get off the ground with my 2-year-old now. But like, so it's not a judgment. It's just like, I do think for me, like, I think about that a lot as far as, I know the like real overwhelm. I can only imagine what I would have been like as a 24-year-old mom. And I don't think it would have been very stable.
I mean, I personally was still getting blackout drunk at 24. So definitely would not have been good. But the other crazy thing about all this, especially like coming back to Erica Kirk and all of actually the women who are like paid messengers with Turning Point that are always pushing this trad wife thing is that they all are career-driven women. And like Alex Clark is one of the biggest ones. And she has a big podcast with Turning Point, and she's like in her mid to late 30s and has never been married and doesn't have kids. And they're out there like telling
She's not
these
married?
young women. No. I don't even think she has a boyfriend. And
That's
there's a separate.
Surprising. You
Yeah.
follow this more closely than I do. Like I didn't know that I assumed that she was married, but that's really interesting.
Yeah. So some of them do, but then some of them, well, and even the ones who are married and they're still talking about like being, tradwives, but they have these multi-million-dollar media empires that they've built. They're working all the time, like they have fully fledged careers, but that's what they're not telling to. And the women who are going to these like Turning Point young women event, I mean, they're like, I'm sure it's a range, but they're like 18, 19.
Well, some of them are in high school. Like the one that was earlier this year that I think it was in June of this year. Like it's targeted towards girls in high school and college. Because the girl who was like, I think she said I want to study journalism. And that was Charlie Kirk's like, the the MS degree is still worth something as far as going to college to find a husband. And she was 14.
Yeah. Well, and then so talk about this article that you've sent to me multiple times to tell me to read, and I haven't yet, about like the minimum or not the minimum wage, the poverty level, right? Like going up.
So this is read it. I mean, it's also very dense, and there's going to be like 3 or 4 parts to it, but it's fascinating. So he's a wealth manager. He's like a hedge fund guy, which I think is interesting in itself as far as like who the messenger is. And even in early on, so this is it's originally it was a Substack, and I think it's part 1, My Whole Life is a Lie or something like that. And then he put part 2 out, but part 1 was just on his personal Substack, and he writes in part 2 like, this was meant for my readers. Like I did not expect this to go viral, but it did, right? Like Washington Post, like it got printed in the Free Press. Washington Post picked it up. There's been tons of rebuttals. of people say, like other like tax lobbyists and stuff like that, of people saying this math is wrong. But basically what he was arguing was the first piece that he's arguing is that like how we're measuring poverty is ridiculous, because it's basically it's like 3x what the food bill would be for a family of four in like 1960s, right? And so like
Yeah.
the food, and he argues like the food price has gone down, but the cost of everything else has gone up. And he talks about this like, and so what people got really hung up on is he does the math for if you were a family of four, and I forgot where it was in New Jersey, all in, 2 cars, 2 kids, health insurance, a phone, like all of the stuff that you put in. He's like, the minimum that you need to be making is like 140,000, and even that as a household, and like even that is like scraping by. Like you're not saving at that level. And
Yeah.
and so he opens up this conversation around what he calls the valley of death, of like that there is these cliffs. There's these cliffs as far as when you're actually in poverty and you qualify for aid, but then you make $1 more, that aid goes away. So there's no
Yeah.
incentive to actually make even an increment more, because you're going to be losing so much more. And then also like, unless you can really get out of that valley, you're just in this cycle of like getting by. And then he also points to this fact of like, in that middle class that is like really struggling but doesn't qualify for any benefits, like the resentment and especially the politics of resentment that's building, that is like a lot of what I think MAGA is built on, is you see people who are getting help and you are barely getting by, and the
Yeah.
anger that builds over that. And
Yeah.
so people got really obsessed with him saying it's like they're like saying that $140,000 is the new poverty level is ridiculous. Like that wasn't his large, like I think people like picked that because it was the most
Of course.
clickbaity,
Yeah.
but that really wasn't the point of what he was talking about. And so I think it's not until like part 3 or part 4 that he's going to actually start suggesting what solutions could be. But it was one, what I thought was really fascinating about it, and he admits it in the very beginning parts of the piece. He goes, I know people on the left have been saying this for a long time, but I forgot exactly how he phrased it. He's like, but like, my bad for not noticing it earlier. Like, you're bad for not like messaging it better or something like that. But I think it matters,
Yeah.
because when you think of someone who's made a lot of money, who is a wealth manager, like it's not really like, what's it to him to actually start advocating and talking about some of these things. And I think coming from that viewpoint, like you potentially have different people who are going to listen than another lefty politician like Bernie who's been talking about this for a decade.
Well, I think it's interesting that like something like this comes up, and because a lot of times I feel like sometimes the Democrats are always fighting against these like old systems, and we don't have enough conversations about like peeling everything back. I mean, like looking at something like that, be like, when's the last time we took a look at this figure that we're using in order to like put together policy? Like, and I don't know why that happens. Like I've thought about that a lot with like the data center stuff too. I'm like, why are we just doing things the way they've always been done when like society is changing so much and everything is changing? Like, is it just because a lot of these politicians who are creating these policies have just always, they're looking at models that have been successful before? I do feel like there's not enough times we really audit things and take a closer look at like bigger shifts. It's always like, even with the ACA subsidy stuff, we're like fighting for them to extend the ACA
It
subsidies. And
is
it's like, we need
interesting.
to tear down the system and like
Yeah.
start again.
And that is the thing with the ACA stuff. Like, it's like to just end the subsidies for people who are in like the middle of cancer treatment, and they are now in the middle. It's like, I can't afford cancer treatment, but I can't afford like $1,000 more a month. Like that is bad. And also just extending subsidies to continue paying health insurance companies more money doesn't feel like it's actually solving anything.
Yeah, I mean, it all
I haven't
feels
finished
like
reading it. There was an oncologist and like economist type person who wrote a like 5 different solutions to healthcare. I think it was an op-ed in Washington Post this week. I have to go finish it because like that's the thing. I feel like it's Ezekiel something. That's the thing is like I feel like we just don't. And this comes back to, because I know that we wanted to talk about the Wisconsin governor's race. I was checking out everyone's platform this week, and like, what do you feel like on the level of in Wisconsin, knowing that this is like all the stuff that we're talking about are national issues, whether it's cost of healthcare, the cost of housing, like what do you feel like people should be looking at, or even what you're looking at when you think of what a governor can do? Because I was reading, Francesca posted some of her AMA answers from her Reddit AMA earlier this week. And like she was talking about like how incrementalism, which is what we were just talking about, doesn't work, right? When you just like kind of work on the edges because it's like political convenience or like expediency. But like, because that's how she thinks, right? Like she wants to like do a lot quickly and like redo everything. But it's like, can you do that as governor, Fran? Like, you're still going to have a legislature to deal with. And like, that is the balance of like, that is the checks and balances. Right. And so there is something that's like, I'm looking through everyone's platforms and policies and stuff like that of like, this tells me what your values are, but I don't know much about like, how are you going to get it done? And like, what can we even do in Wisconsin at a state level for these issues?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point. And I was talking to somebody about this today too. It's like, campaigning is different than governing, right? So in some sense, like a lot of people are just hearing little tidbits. So like, yeah, you can't like over explain it into oblivion or they're just going to like tune out. So by talking about the values and like your aspirations like that, it makes sense. But I do think it's on some certain level, you do have to be realistic about what you can do. I actually saw Governor Whitmer speak like a month or two ago, and she was talking about that a lot too. And that was one of the reasons she credits getting elected and then reelected is because I think she talks about like, you have to, just like everything else, like a real job, you have to like under promise and over deliver. Like, and that was her key to like reelection. And she's like, that's why I talked about fixing the damn roads. That's what people said. A lot of places, like a governor is like infrastructure, education, healthcare to a degree. You know what I mean? They do have to work, especially in a state like Wisconsin. They are going to have to work with a divided legislature, even if Democrats, well, I guess if Democrats flip it, that's one thing. But I do think to what Fran is saying and to her point, like I get her angle. I get that angle too, because it's like if we just keep settling, we're never really gonna we never get far enough. In fact, we're slipping further and further back. And she is saying like we need like a brave person to put it all out there and say like, no, let's totally do it differently. And so I think I'm really glad she's in the race. I think her platform is different than a lot of the other ones, and her gives
approach
people something
certainly different. Did you see that she Dan Schaefer posted this out or pointed this out? So the day Mandela got in this week, she reposted her position on ICE as far as like being like loud and proud about abolish ICE, because obviously he has flip-flopped on that. I am fascinated to see. All right, so let's just talk about that. Thoughts on Mandela getting into the race, his launch video, where things go from here.
So first of all, I am glad that for anybody getting into the race that is a legitimate candidate and has legitimate relevant experience, and all the other things that you would like have on a list in order to run for office. Like this is what primaries should be for. I feel like
absolutely
the more the merrier. People should see who they like and see what works. So I have been like really put off by all of the like pundits and stuff, people telling him like he shouldn't run and people being all upset that he's in the race. I think that's like ridiculous. This is like, if people want better candidates, we're like, until we have ranked choice voting, like the more people we have in primaries and the more thorough those are, like the better place we're going to get to have whatever candidate really rises to the top for the general. So I'm glad he jumped in. He just jumped in this week, and so it's really early. I am still looking to see what he just like how he's talking and how he's like meeting people where they're at and the types of things he's talking about. Right off the bat, it feels a little safe to me, and it feels similar to his Senate campaign. Those were my initial thoughts. But he just got in, you know what I mean? So I think I do think he is a lot. I see when I see him like talking and stuff and on panels, a lot more like confidence being off the cuff than he was a couple years ago. So I'm kind of just like waiting to see what happens. Certainly somebody like Fran is like totally off the cuff, and like people sense that she's completely authentic because she will just like get her phone out and start talking. Whereas Mandela obviously has a more like cautious approach to the types of things that he is talking about. So those are my like initial thoughts. It was a little safer and a little too familiar.
Yeah, I was because that was what I said. I think I said it this week on the show. I was like, does he run to the left or does he run more moderate compared to who he was, I think, when he was lieutenant governor versus what he ran as Senate. And yeah, he didn't come on the show this week, and so we've not talked to him yet, but I am interested to see how I don't know.
Did you ask him to be on the show this week?
What?
Did you ask him to be on the show this week?
Well, because we got like the embargoed announcement, and it's like, this is embargoed until 5 a.m. on Tuesday. And so I just emailed this person back. I was like, does he want to come on the show? But he had so many different things going on. And so I followed up today. I was like, does he want to come on next week? And so
but I haven't seen a lot of the things. Have you?
That's what I mean. That's why I was like, I know he did an interview with Journal Sentinel, like Molly and Jesse published something as far as like an interview they did with him. But I haven't seen him do a lot of press. So that's why I was like, where is he? That like I saw the launch video, but I didn't see him.
I know he was around a little bit. I've seen some stuff on his social, but I hadn't seen more interviews because I am looking for more like, I want to see them all talk more.
I want to see them all. Fran is the only one who's breaking through to me.
Yeah.
And again, we can talk about algorithms because I know we're going to talk about just social media in general, but like I know I guess all I can imagine is like they're all just in fundraising mode. But I like this weekend, what I'm writing about for Journal Sentinel is like in the situation where they all overlap. Like I don't see a ton of light between where they all stand on policy wise. I don't think, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, but like they're all pro-choice and like want to protect reproductive rights. They all want a more equitable economy. They all want strong public schools. They're all going to support unions. Like the biggest thing I can see so far is maybe, and especially if Joel Brennan gets in, like Joel and Missy being more pro-business potentially. But like, I don't see a ton of differences. And so I think the reason why you have someone like Mandela get in right away, and he's like considered the immediate front runner, is just name ID. And I just don't want this to be a name ID race. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like if people somehow turn into, because he has a national network, like fundraising network, because he has statewide name ID, that like that somehow equates to being the most electable, because like ultimately there's a difference between winning elections, but then still being a constituent who wants the best person to actually be governor.
Right.
And like, this is different than Senate. Like, this is, like you said, like this is a position that like has to get shit done. And I want like, I want us to be thinking about what are the questions and what is the actual, like, what is your management style? Who are you going to listen to? Like, who are they going to like be in their circle of trust of, like, when we talk about all the different agencies, there are thousands of people that the governor actually oversees versus a Senate staff, right? Like, it's just different. And so I want, like, not like me personally, but also like all of us to also be thinking like name ID and this like idea of electability is still different than being able to do the job well. And like I want, and I'm trying to figure out like how are we going to figure that out?
I think they all have great relevant experience, and I honestly would trust any of them to like govern.
Yeah.
I think it does. I was talking to somebody else, and what she was saying about Fran is like, Fran is consistent. She has always like pushed really hard for things. She's always been very vocal about things, and she has never wavered. She has been so true to herself, and that's, I do think that's worth something for sure, especially in politics. I also think it's okay to change your position on things and grow and evolve. I think I don't like hold that against a politician if they're like have moved on an issue. But consistency does seem to be the key to life in pretty much every sector of life. So I thought that was a really interesting point that I hadn't really considered. And then she also said, which was interesting, like, we also need, they do have to govern and work with like the legislature and the different people on different sides, but also this is going to be, we're still going to have a couple of years left of Trump, and we need a fighter in there too. Like, we need somebody who's not afraid to punch back. And I hadn't even considered that either. Because I am always worried about electability too. I'm like just scarred sometimes from like, but I'm also like, maybe we do swing for the star. I don't know. It is disappointing that like, I mean, we'll see what happens. The other thing I was surprised about, actually, I have no idea. I wouldn't be surprised if Mandela has the strongest fundraising chops for sure.
Sarah has a ton of money already. Sarah has like $4 million.
She does? So it'll be interesting to see. I think, unfortunately, how this works is whoever is able to, grassroots donors definitely make a difference, but you have to like hook some of the big donors, right? So whoever is able to do that is going to like really lift them up. And also whoever can secure some pretty big endorsements. And none of them really have any like really big significant endorsements. I was actually surprised that Mandela, I mean, he has some like former state legislators and more local level current elected officials, but there weren't any like, certainly not anybody that like my friends who are less political would ever recognize on that list. Mm-mm.
How much do you think endorsements matter?
Well, I think they matter a lot in certain races. Like, I remember back in the Senate race when there was still 3 of them. Part of the reason I decided to support Mandela was because I saw like Elizabeth Warren endorse him and Bernie. But for a governor, I think it's somewhat different. I don't know if there would be endorsements from. Maybe there would be. Like, do you think like Gretchen Whitmer?
I think there would be. I think eventually endorsements will come in. I just meant more as like an influential factor on voters, like how much.
I think it's influential.
You do think so? I don't have an opinion. I know it's not influential on me. Like, I don't think I change my opinion based on who is endorsed, and so that's why I was curious as far as if it influences other people.
I think it would be very influential if it was a significant endorsement of somebody that lesser political people knew and respected and were endorsing one of the candidates with less name ID. Like, if somebody were to endorse like Crowley or Fran that was like pretty big, I think that would make a difference because there are people who have maybe never heard of them, but have heard of a larger endorser. Yeah. I do think it makes a difference. So, and everybody's kind of been kind of quiet. I just saw an interview with, I think, is his name Matt Smith was interviewing Evers, who says he has no plans to endorse at all. I don't know if that would, make a difference to me. I'd be interested to know for sure, just like for my own sake. And I'd be interested, like the other person I would love to like be a fly on the wall in his brain is like Ben Wickler. Again, not necessarily like that is something that would sway me, but I'm just like selfishly
Just like, yeah,
curious.
like where they, well, yeah. I mean, eventually, yeah, that'll be one. My prediction is Evers will not endorse in the primary, but will help campaign once whoever is elected. And I don't know about Wickler. I would imagine because
Where
who knows?
is
Like,
he, by the way?
he's writing a book. I don't know, being the shadow DNC, not DNC, Wisdom's chair, telling Devin what to
He's probably
do.
sitting in a hot tub watching this stream.
Yeah, totally. This is exactly what he's doing on a Thursday night. I don't know.
Alicia said, she said, I'm not really sure if it's super influential, but with endorsements come door knockers. That's interesting too.
Well, and also if they then show up in campaign, right? So, like, did you get an email asking to go to La Crosse when Pete Buttigieg was supposed to be here?
Yeah. Well, I didn't get it.
If you wouldn't have canceled, were you going to go?
I was like trying to see. Were you going to go?
So the email, this is so funny. This is also like my own ego involved in it. So the email that I originally got, which I'm sure is the same one we all got now, was Pete Buttigieg's people like would love to get in touch with you. He's coming to La Crosse. So my stupid ass went to, oh, maybe they want me to moderate something. And at that point, I was like, I would absolutely drive 4 hours across the state on a Tuesday night to moderate something that Pete Buttigieg was going to be at. And then the ask when they got back to me was like, oh, we want you to come and make some content. There's no promise that you would like get any one-on-one time to make a video with them. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not driving across the state.
And that's why I was like,
risers and like film on my phone.
The only reason I was considering going was because to like meet some of the other creators that were going that I hadn't like met yet or hadn't seen in a while. But like, here's the thing. Like, politicians need to understand that like getting a couple minutes with you when you give your like pre-canned answers is not good for content creators. That is, I'm sorry, it's boring content. Our audience doesn't care about that.
Yeah.
So like giving us the opportunity to come sit and film while you're talking about stuff
and like take a
it's
picture.
Like we can just go on
like,
Twitter and Aaron Rupar or whatever has the clip right there and we can make a reel of it. Like that needs to be that is not coming through to them.
And I had one this week of like, did you get anything from Bashir's people?
No.
So he had some op-ed in Washington Post. And so so I'm trying to get him on the show because I was like, like we have a radio show. If he's actually going to run for president, like he wants to do an interview, like that is something that is a little bit more substantial than like, I don't know, being at an event. But anyways, but that's a sidebar. What I was actually going to say, it's like, like Pete Buttigieg would probably get a crowd. When Bernie Sanders comes, he gets a crowd. Like I think when Bernie Sanders came for Rebecca Cook for the third, you get more people to potentially come out. That makes I see that I think is more influential than just purely the endorsement, because you can actually like if you can drive people to go to an event and then see the candidate in person, get to meet them, that to me seems like a bigger difference than like cosign. You can put my name on your website. There you go.
Yeah, I agree. Like I think if Fran were to get like a Bernie endorsement, I think that would make a really big deal.
Or like a Hassan Piker. I'm just saying he has a huge following, and I feel like he would. So I'll put it like this. So my friend Joe, like who's a big old, he streams Hassan like all day. He actually, it was funny because he chilled, like, yeah, didn't mind. We won't get into Joe. But the funniest story about that is when we were at the DNC, I walked by Hassan Piker and he was on my my scavenger hunt. So I was like, oh, like, can I get a picture or whatever with you? But like he live streams like his entire day. So literally within seconds of me like getting a picture with him, Joe texts me and goes, I just saw you on the stream. I was like, you are so weird. Get a life. Anyways, there was an exchange on one of his streams where someone mentioned Fran, and he was
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah. And he's like, I'd love to meet her or whatever. Like, he's like, I'm going to check her out. And so Joe screenshotted that and sent it to me, and I sent it to Fran. And I think she was very excited about the prospect of someone like Hassan Piker, who has a huge audience and a huge, very like obviously left-leaning audience, to motivate and like amplify her campaign. So I do think that there is something there that, like, obviously he is not a politician, but I do think he is very influential.
Yeah, and Fran has the right attitude about that. She understands the power of creators and messengers and streamers and all of these different types of influential people, and the trust they've built with their own audiences. She gets that. I knew that she got that from day one, because when she announced, I saw people who I knew who are creators all over the country talking about her. And I'm sure like it was part of, an agency ask, but still the fact that they had that baked into her plan is super, super smart. And she's she's not saying no to anything. At least that's what it seems like. She's definitely running a campaign for the times, for sure. But then the other thing is, I'm like, are we just so online? Like, how is she?
Well, that's the thing.
Is
like,
anybody who's not online like us?
Like, I don't know how much time she's spending on like big fundraising versus showing up in Wisconsin Rapids at the coffee shop, or showing up in the Cloud Red in Shorewood and stuff like that. Like, I don't know how she's splitting her time right now. But it's interesting when you say, like, when her launch video and like how much it was shared, how much people reacted to it, versus like, I feel like Mandela's launch was like fairly, like, the reactions were fairly muted
from the left,
right? Like, I feel like it was like, okay,
yeah, there are tons of reactions from the right. It's because they clearly have a whole file they just plopped on the table, and they're like, boom, 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 boom.
I didn't realize, I totally missed the first time around that they all refer to him as Jesse.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I saw something on Twitter, and I had to text Dan Schaefer. He goes, "Oh yeah, they all call him Jesse because that's his." I mean, that's
yeah. They all have their things about him,
I was like,
and
oh man, like
they're just back into that mode. And I actually wonder if, like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, is that going to backfire? Is that actually good for the other candidates that they are all focused on him? But also, I think, I mean, obviously he just got in. I don't know if things will. I have no idea what their strategy is, except that it's awful. No matter who they're going after, just everything is ridiculous. But yeah, I did not see much from the left, except that a lot of,
like, did you see many people share it?
some, yes, some, but I also was Moms for Mandela. So like, I think the people who were sharing it were like, I knew from that, and were like very involved and know him very well.
That's true. That's a good point. It's like this. So this goes into our last topic for the night, which is like just social media in general. Like, it feels like the bad place, but it also feels like the place you're not supposed to like quit if you work in media. And I don't know what you like. I feel it's like between the AI stuff, between just like the constant reminder of like, this is not real life, or like most of these comments are bots, or like we had some bots at the beginning of this live at the very beginning here. I was like, oh, what is happening right now? And like, I keep having these, and like, it's funny because I feel like this last year I posted a lot of show clips, but I'm not posting a ton of original content. But like the space it takes up in my brain of like the shoulding myself of I should be posting there, and I should have a content strategy, and I should be doing this stuff because like that, like, it was wrapped up in part of my identity of like, that's kind of like how I came up, and there is opportunity there, and you need to reach people. But like, I feel like this paralysis of even knowing how to show up there, because it feels like the Oxford word of the year is rage bait, right? And so it's like, to break through, you have to do shit that's like lacking integrity or not nuanced, and also like, now I'm getting inundated with like how to break through and grow on Instagram. It's like all that's like what metrics matter and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, like, can't I just be good at what I do instead of having to like crack an algorithm? And so I don't know about you, because you're doing so much more than I am on here and like better at it. But like, how do you feel going into next year as far as like how to be effective and like make stuff that is valuable on social media while like keeping your sanity?
I mean, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. And I've been able to grow a community and grow people, I think, who trust me and like keep coming back, because I keep staying true to myself and like one of my goals, which is to like help people understand what's going on. But that stuff doesn't do well. So, but if I want to like monetize this, then I have to grow also. So I will also put in some of the other stupid, I play the games too with some other reels and stuff because you have to. It's like you have to feed the beast also. So it's kind of just like, I kind of just look at it as like a necessary evil. I got to like
do one for them, do one for you. It's like as actors who do like the art film and then do the like the blockbuster.
But it's so dumb. Like Instagram, and I try to be on all the different platforms, but like I started on Instagram because that's where like the moms and millennial girlies are. Okay. So like I try to be other places, but like that's where the people are. And so I try to do things to like crack that algorithm, but it's Instagram likes like just B-roll and trendy sounds and like very surface level shit, you know? And so of course the more it is like a fact of life that the more time I spend on something, the less people will see it for sure. And that does get frustrating sometimes when I just want to like, I don't want to have to like feed the beast sometimes. Like it's so annoying. And that's why sometimes I'm like, fuck it. But also I think I just need to be like, sometimes there's so much noise. I just have to be confident in like, I don't have to talk about that. Like if I don't really have anything to say, I don't have to say it. I wish more people like thought that sometimes. It's like everybody comments on everything. Well, because they're trying to get more views and then they're trying to get money, you know?
Well, and this is the thing that I think about of like so did I send you that quote from the Substack article? So my brother's been trying to like pressure me into to do Substack. So my brother is in finance, and so he's been doing Substack. But like my brother has like expert knowledge in something as someone who's spent like 20 years as like an analyst and like a head. So it's like he has information that people are willing to pay for. Like my opinions, maybe that's imposter syndrome, but I don't know if I have something that is like so good that people are going to pay $5 a month, but that's maybe my own bullshit that I should figure out in therapy. But I was trying to read, I was like, all right, what's a Substack strategy? And so where is this? And it's like, like how Substack is changing in 2026. And let me get this quote up because it encapsulates how I feel about all of the social media things, right? Like all the platforms right now and like how to be there. And so it was called The Great Substack Shift 2026 Predictions. And this was the quote that got me. Daily presence, engagement tactics, strategic posting times, showing up consistently, the language of performance and visibility, the subtle pressure to be active rather than simply good at your craft. And it was like that, and that was a prediction of like where Substack is going, because the notes aspect of Substack now is basically Twitter, right? Or Threads, or it's like this other thing versus writing really thoughtful like newsletters and like essays. And it's evolving also into this thing that you have to show up every day and you have to be involved in all these conversations. It's just like the overwhelm, and especially for people who are like the Jessica Yellens and the Aaron Parnases and the V's from Under Desk News, is like, how do you live your life? Like to be competitive on social media as a news content creator, how do you ever just like show up and be present in your actual life and like enjoy it? Because the pressure and probably like how beholden you feel to the audience that you've created, that they rely on you. And I don't like, I'm going through something. I was like, I don't know if I want to be that. Like, I don't know if I have it in me to do that, and like just lowering my expectations a little bit.
Yeah, it's difficult when it's there's this very weird like psychological thing that happens where like yeah, people start to depend on you and then they expect things from you, and then it is difficult to be like I get very overwhelmed sometimes when I have like just so many DMs and emails, and then like I feel like that my actual relationships in my real life suffer because I'm like I'm trying to like
Yeah.
respond to these people who are in my community, and then I'm like, oh, but like I haven't called that friend back in 3 weeks. My friend, you know what I mean? And so it is really difficult. But if you want to be successful, that's well, if you want to be successful by the standards of the industry or
Yeah.
whatever, if you want to grow, that's what you do have to do, that consistent stuff. And like I do have a Substack, but I only post like once a week and I never go in the notes. And frankly, I've unsubscribed from emails because there's so many, because people are trying to be consistent. They're just writing everything. So it's like all the same stuff all the time. And I'm like, everybody's sending the same shit to my inbox every day. And I already have thousands of unread emails. I'm trying not to be this person. So I'm just like unsubscribing. It's nothing against the people. It's just like, I need a little.
It's so much.
It's
There's so
too
many
much. Like
podcasts, there's so many newsletters, there's so like it's just a lot.
If only everybody had a once weekly YouTube live show, then we would all be a lot better.
That was an acronym for cunt.
Oh my gosh. Are you just loving that you can say whatever you want on YouTube? Because you can't
I
on the
actually feel like
radio?
I didn't curse as much as you would think that I would feel free to on not being on a FCC licensed channel. I behaved. But yeah, this is fun. This does feel, because it's interesting being able to do this here, especially so like it's very low. We'll grow. The more people will understand that we're here at 8:00 and they should come join us. But like,
Yeah,
this
we can get
compared
some fun
to
guests, maybe.
yeah, exactly. But like a very mixed audience of like, I still feel like I have to be on my best behavior. Like I still don't feel like I'm fully my authentic self on WTMJ yet. Because I know,
well,
it's harder because you can't get into a flow because it's like 6-minute segments and there's commercial, it's like there's so many commercials. It does, but like there is just something, because I know how many conservative listeners we have, that I know that I get in my head of like, all right, how can I say this without, and I probably would be better at it if I just didn't pull punches and I didn't give a shit. I still can't curse, but as far as just being a little bit more fully myself, but I feel like here for now, that's like very much like, that's why this is very fun, because it's just chatting and we don't have to worry about,
and I feel like we'll start to get.
broadcasting.
Well, it's not surprising to me that you feel. I mean, that's your job. That's what your place of employment. With like, like it's normal to not be like your full unhinged self at your place of employment. I do feel like I can be pretty fully unhinged on my own Instagram. So it is always weird for me when I'm on like live radio or even like with Pat or whatever. That
Are you
I
still
feel
doing
like a
Pat's
little.
show?
No, but
Okay.
like every once in a while, he actually just. I misread a message and was supposed to come on to do something. And it was like, I literally got on the next day and I was texting him. I'm like, I'm on. He's like, that was yesterday. I'm like, oh, so I'm not really cut out for live radio.
Well, no, because you need to start coming. We got to figure out a day for you to start coming on once a month on our show.
Yeah. But I do think it's good to have for creative people, especially like you, who has like real jobs with real bosses like you do. It's good to have other outlets like this where you can be a little freer. And I think we can start to get in. We didn't really like get that juicy tonight, but I think maybe we will start to get really get.
I think if we start promoting it, because I think we can get if we are doing this. See you next Thursday. If we're doing this and like getting more topic suggestions from people, on what they want to talk about and hear about versus us just reacting to the week.
Yeah, and start developing like kind of a fun type of format and maybe some fun little things. I think it'll be good. You have to. Nobody ever succeeds by just like hitting it out of the park on the. You have to be willing to like. Well, this is being a creator too. You only get to be creative and keep doing something if you like do it with 9 people watching first. You know.
Yeah. Oh, and it's also a lot. It's better when it's like when you're first starting something. You're like to fail on like a big stage sucks.
Yeah. That's why I'm kind
Versus
of glad we didn't even push this to Instagram Live. This is like a
Instagram.
safe place here on YouTube. So thank you for everybody who came and hung out and
hung
watched.
out. Yeah, this was really fun. And so we're here. What is next Thursday is the 10th, 11th. So we'll be here on the
Yeah,
11th.
maybe we'll make like a little form submission, or we should make an email too, where people can email like thoughts or ideas or whatever.
Perfect.
Okay. Well,
Is your Christmas tree
yeah,
up?
it's not yet. Because we do go get one outside and like wasn't brave enough to venture out in the snowstorm. Like now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, screw it. Christmas is like so soon. Do we even need one? But I do know I need one, but no, we haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, because you do that with a 5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. God bless
We
you.
go in our town square. They like contract with a farm that brings them all into the town square. So they're already pre-cut. So it's still like kind of hallmarky, but we don't have to trek out and cut it down. So it's best of both worlds.
So you're not, yeah. We did that I can't believe my parents, we did that. We would go pick out a tree and actually like my dad would get
So
down
did
there.
we.
It's like, why did we do that? That does not seem like I guess it's memories, like I remember it, but like I'm sure we complained a lot while we did it. But
they had so many less emails than us. It was all they were looking forward to it for 364 days.
So much
Get
less
one from
time
Joy's
on
Ice Cream. Yes. Yeah. Have you gotten one yet?
Early wedding anniversary, Jessica. She said she's not going to be here next week because it's her wedding anniversary. So happy early.
Oh yeah, happy anniversary.
So, all right. Well, fun chatting with you. Thanks to everyone who joined. Tell your friends. We'll post an email, both of our emails as far as or a form or something like that for people to give us suggestions for next week. We can figure out something like an interactive thing. I don't know. Yeah. Endless options.
Some game show type of thing. We used to go in the woods behind our house for a tree. That's Wisconsin for you. That is Wisconsin.
So,
okay. Well, right, everybody have a wonderful night.
See you next Thursday.
See you next Thursday.